traditionally is the wound. So it's traditionally the wound.
Well, the same, you know, he didn't survive to this
He didn't.
event, you know, the assassination.
What did Lyndon Johnson's, the guy sitting next to Lyndon Johnson, what did he, I forgot his name, but he was an important congressman from Texas. What did he say Lyndon Johnson was doing at the time of the assassination of JFK? He had his head below Lady Bird Johnson and he was talking on a walkie-talkie, very quietly. Restricted.
Secret
Yeah.
communication.
Okay.
Wow.
So, okay, now we're going to go to the chart of the United States relative to the JFK assassination. Okay, this ought to be easy. What really jumps out at you? Clue, Robert F. Kennedy had this, Malcolm X had this.
Mars on the ascendant?
Mars on the descendant.
Descendant, yeah.
What is the descendant? What did Robert Hand say the descendant is?
Now wait, the first chart, the USA chart here, I have Mars on the ascendant.
That's the natal. But what about the...
But it's opposing the transiting
Exactly
Mars on the
opposite.
descendant.
Right.
Exactly.
And what does Mars on the descendant indicate according to Robert Hand?
Crime, some kind of
Area
violence.
of open conflicts. One of the most dangerous positions for Mars.
Wow.
Robert F. Kennedy was born with Mars conjunct the descendant. Malcolm X was born with Mars conjunct the descendant. Were both of them gunned down? Yeah.
Wow.
That's weird.
Billy Martin, the legendary baseball manager for the Oakland A's and the New York Yankees, he had Mars conjunct the descendant.
Wow.
He loved to get in fights with referees. That was, if there's anything he's going to be remembered for, it's throwing sand on umpires and referees in baseball and yelling at them using the F word and stuff. But how did he die? Car crash. What does Mars rule? Cars.
Cars.
Especially fast cars.
An accident.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
So we got that. Is there anything else going on? I'm looking at Saturn, transiting Saturn conjunct the USA moon.
Moon.
Again, that's the, you need to shut up and
Yeah.
not talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Saturn.
yeah,
Restrict your communication. Yeah.
Okay?
Also in the ninth house, it may have restricted a lot of the peace that we could have had with foreign countries. Or
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
finally, look again, the North Node conjunct the star of Sirius is conjuncting the Sun. And yes, the founding fathers of the United States did pick July 4th because the Sun would be near Sirius. And that was the star of Freemasonry, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Okay?
Interesting.
And the Jupiter was there that year. Yeah.
Okay. So to understand what happened with the John F. Kennedy assassination and its connection with Freemasonry, we gotta know something about the legend of ancient Egypt. Okay, I'm gonna sum it up because I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'm gonna sum it up. Okay, once upon a time in ancient Egypt, there was a mighty god named Ra, and he had a wife named Nut. They had some children. The first child was Osiris. The second child was Horus. The third child, number 3, was Set. Isis the 4th, Nephthys the 5th. Osiris married his sister Isis, and he grew to be a mighty king. Set, the third child, was very jealous and wanted to kill Osiris, but he would not kill. He gathered a bunch of 72 conspirators. 7 plus 2 equals 9. What is 9? 3 square.
It's also the endings.
The end of something.
Yeah. So the Egyptian god Set, the third one, he wanted to get rid of Osiris, but he could not. He would not get rid of his wife Isis. Isis was untouchable. We could not do anything about Isis. And if you notice in chess, the queen is the most dangerous piece. Okay. And the king was just sort of like a figurehead. So the story goes is that Set made a box that could only he got Osiris's measurements, made a box, and said it was an extremely beautiful box, and anybody who could fit in this box could have it. Of course, when everyone tried, nobody could fit. Then Osiris tried, goes, "Wow, it fits perfectly." And Set goes, "Yes, I know." And he put a top on it and sealed him, and just basically murdered him in the box.
Wow.
And then went up to the Nile River and sent him down the Nile River. Okay? Now, here we go. Now, here's where we go. The next page. Okay, Isis is able to resurrect Osiris. Okay? As this resurrection takes place, Isis becomes the star of Sirius. Sirius is the brightest star in the sky. Osiris becomes the constellation Orion. And yes, the Orion belt is made up of 3 stars, which it makes it easy to spot at night. If you go out at night, if you want to see a beautiful, around sunset, if you want to see a beautiful thing of the belt of Orion, it's rising up over the eastern horizon as it's like a point. It's like a stick of 3 stars, and it's huge. I thought it was some kind of a UFO, and I said, no, that's the belt of Orion. And then as it rises up, it gradually takes its form. But it's,
Yes.
if you can see it at right now. I saw it last night at sundown. Excuse me, not sunrise, sundown. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like 3 huge stars rising up over the eastern horizon. So we see there, Osiris becomes Orion, and Isis becomes Sirius. And of course, Isis is untouchable. She's the brightest star in the sky. Okay? And then, of course, Osiris is resurrected, and he becomes the god who judges the living and the dead. And it's like, good. Where do we hear that from? Oh yeah, growing up as a Catholic, yeah, that's supposed to be Jesus. So it's sort of like, so you see, the story of Osiris is sort of incorporated with the story of the resurrection of Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay?
Except I think the resurrection of Jesus was taken from Osiris.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
That's what
yeah,
I
yeah.
said, yeah.
Back, I had it backwards. Mercury's still retrograde. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for correcting me.
Christianity
Earlier.
kind of took over everything.
Yeah,
A lot
exactly.
earlier, yeah.
Okay, now the final page. This was supposed to be. I hate Mercury retrograde. Okay, so we have the pyramid. This was supposedly one of the secrets behind the Great Pyramid of Giza. They had a chamber where the queen would sit, and the star of Sirius would line up with her, the Isis star, and then the king would sit, and the Orion belt would line up with him, which is, Osiris.
Wow.
And then you would have a priest who would meditate, and supposedly they could see visions. There's a paper that I read about a guy who he paid $5,000 so he could spend the night in Giza, and he claims that he saw what he called bird people who look like birds. They had bird faces, and they came to him and were curious and stuff. And he was a professor, and he said he will never forget it as long as he lives. He said he's convinced it's some sort of the pyramids is some sort of travel to another dimension. And he said a lot of the things that you see written on, painted on the walls of the pyramids, he thinks that's where that came from.
Yeah, I mean, a
I
lot of the
was
hieroglyphics have the bird-headed
Yeah.
people in them.
No, I was inside the king's chamber, and it
Uh-huh.
was really
Oh, cool. I'm
tremendous
envious.
energy. It was amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so you can see the importance of Osiris and his connection with the constellation Orion and the star Sirius, representing the goddess Isis. Okay. Now we're going to talk about some Freemasonry. Okay.
Okay.
I have it highlighted for you. They are 3 lights in Freemasonry. The number 3 again.
3.
The greatest of these 3 lights is the cosmic ashlar. The cosmic ashlar Freemasonry is situated in the east with the gavel of the worshipful master. That's that little blazing star you see with the eye in it behind the master mason when he does his things. Okay? And it says, above the worshipful master and governor of every Masonic lodge is the glimmering light in the east, the eastern star, astronomically known as the visual binary star Sirius. Okay?
Okay.
So we got 3 lights in Freemasonry, and of course Sirius is the most important one. Now we go to, this is a research scientist at the University of Arizona. He did his own research on Sirius, and he says it is strongly associated with war and disaster.
Oh,
Wow.
What the heck? Well, then why did this group of people and I got talked into going with this group to Hawaii in 2002 because there was some special alignment with Sirius and us at that time, and But we had this wonderful, good, powerful stuff happen with dolphins.
Okay. Well, let's look up Sirius.
It sounds bad.
Well, let's look up
Maybe it's
Sirius.
both.
I have ambition.
It was all
wealth,
very
fame,
positive. I mean,
Yeah.
But
Okay.
calamity too.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Sirius, the dog star, the son of the sun, the prime sun of our galaxy, Bohemian star. Ambition, pride, emotionality, fame. Very strongly associated with fame. The Dalai Lama's son conjunction the star of Sirius.
Wow.
And Tony Robbins, the guy, the ultimate life coach, he was born with Sirius right overhead.
it's also a jerk.
Drought, danger, through impetuosity. Sirius was worshipped in many cultures. The heliacal rising signaled the peak of summer and the annual flooding of the Nile and the beginning of the ancient Egyptian calendar. Okay? But if you go back here, so we're going to continue this. So you got the research scientist, J.B. Holberg, who says it's associated with war and disaster. And if you look at Kenneth Grant, who was a big student of Aleister Crowley, the occultist, and by the way, Aleister Crowley was a 33rd degree Mason. So he knew all these secrets, supposedly. If you look at what I have down there, Sirius Satis are set on, thus represents the supreme eternal light. The star is therefore the key to the present aeon of Horus, for it represents the energy of Satan that will permeate the earth during the present cycle. Wow. Okay? Now let's go to the next page. You want to see Woody Harrelson's father? Go to the next page. He's the one in the middle. That's Charles Harrelson. And Woody Harrelson admitted quietly his father did work for the CIA. When he asked about murder, he said, "Murder is a crime that has no statute of limitations, so I don't want to go there."
Whoa.
So, yes, his father did kill people.
Yeah.
And that's where, of course, that was the inspiration behind Natural Born Killers, the movie.
Wow.
And that was why Woody Harrelson was
Oh, I
picked.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to talk about the initiation for third degree Freemasonry. Okay? If you're a Freemason and you're going to get your third degree, there's a special ceremony where because you see, the Master Mason had secret passwords that allowed other people who are Master Masons to go in and into the research room, I guess it was, and learn special architecture secrets and special engineering secrets. And they were passwords to get into these areas. And to be it, you had to go through a lot of rituals, supposedly, to get the password. And the password, by the way, is...
The word password.
No.
Is what?
Sorry.
Mahabone.
Mahabone.
Mahabone is the secret password.
That sounds like an Indian, Maha. In India.
Yeah, I
We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
India, yeah.
Anyway, the story goes, Hiram Biff was the Master Mason, and he was kidnapped by 3 unworthy craftsmen who wanted the secret password. And Hiram Biff refused to give it up, and the 3 unworthy craftsmen killed him. And there's like there is sort of like a mock killing because the person, if you're going to receive your third degree in Freemasonry, you got to, no, I'm not going to give you the password. Okay, then we'll kill you. You have to be willing to be killed, than rather give up the secret password. Okay?
You
And
just told us.
yeah,
I know. Is that supposed to be on YouTube? I don't know.
it's actually mentioned in a documentary on Freemasonry.
Well, it's probably not the secret password anymore. Something tells me.
My
Okay.
nephew's a Mason. I'm going to ask him about some of this.
Okay.
Yeah, you should.
It is mentioned on YouTube. That's where I got it. And somebody I know who's with the organization, he told me that, and he said everybody knows that's what it is.
They
Okay.
have a book called The Secret Teaching of All Ages, which
I have
gives
that.
all of the masonry stuff and all the
Really?
secret
Ooh.
stuff.
Okay.
It's called The Secret Teaching of All Ages, and it's this great, big,
Blue
incredible
book.
Now, see, that's
Okay.
something I'd like to read.
Get
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
all right.
anyway,
It's worth it.
so the story is Hiram Abiff was the main mason for King Solomon, and many historians question this. But according to the tale, Hiram Abiff refused to give up his secret passwords, and he was killed by 3 unworthy craftsmen. Now, if you look below, we have 3 famous hobos,
craftsmen.
all with clothing that was like brand new, no frays in the cuffs or anything. The first one is believed to be Lucian Sardi, a French assassin. Charles Harrelson is the second one, and E. Howard Hunt from Watergate fame is the third. They had 3 scumbags, they paraded them through Dealey Plaza. Now, what is so significant about Dealey Plaza? It was the site of the very first Freemason lodge in Dallas, Texas. It was also the site of the very first courthouse in Texas. And it's the site of the residence of George Dealey, who is the founder of Dallas, Texas. Okay?
So they look like hobos before the assassination?
No, that's what they were saying. They were hobos. And by the way, one of the policemen who paraded them, they did identify it. I'm sure y'all gonna love this one. He had the symbol for the Democrat Party on his sleeve, and he had the symbol for the Ku Klux Klan next to it.
It's a mixed message.
Yeah. The Ku Klux Klan was the Democrat Party was the original party of the Ku Klux Klan. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a fact.
It's true.
And I lived in Florida, and I always thought Mississippi and those places were the hotbeds of Ku Klux Klan. It turned out to be Florida.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's really crazy still.
Okay, so we got our three hobos, our three unworthy craftsmen. Okay?
Yes, got it.
Now, what did the clock say when JFK was killed? 12:30. What is 12:30?
1, 2,
1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
The timing.
Isn't that it? So you're seeing
That's giving
here.
me the heebie-jeebies.
So you're seeing here some use of symbols with numbers.
Yes.
And okay.
1, 2, 3.
So now we're going to talk about magic sacrifice. For this, we go to Aleister Crowley for Magic and Theory and Practice. I had this book, and we go to chapter 12. Okay, and yes, 12 is 1 and 2, and 1 plus 2 equals 3.
Right.
Now, what I have there in a square, Dr. J.G. Fraser, I found what he was talking about.
Oh, I've read the Golden Bough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay, so we're gonna get to that in a minute. But go to the next page and you're gonna see highlighted. And I get into arguments with people from OTO about this. They say when Crowley was talking about sacrifice, he was talking about masturbation, jerking off. I disagree. He would not go through all this writing to make a sick joke about jerking off.
Yeah, that
Okay.
doesn't make sense.
For the high, but we'll read it. For the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and